Hello everyone. Welcome to this course. In this course we will learn about the refinement process of our model and the animation process of the upper body part. With the help of this you can just have a look that we have just edited the model with a particular graph editor, and after that we have all the points which is situated at the graph editor. So with the help of a single you can say the manipulation process, you can add extra things. Like if you go to the attribute editor, you have all the panels in channel box also, which is the right side on your screen. You can just add all the points one by one at a particular section. As you can see, the legs are moving quite well. With the help of timeline, you can just drag down at the reasonable speed. After that, when you are satisfied with your work, just make sure that you will work on the play blast. As we have just focused on this part, as you can see, the foot is moving quite well. We have the controllers which will attach to the feet region, so we will have extra freedom so that we can move our feet quite well in a single order, as you can see. So we will just manipulate this part only. At the first we'll rotate the same because we need so much more details into the feet region so that it will move quite well. And after that, when just move it this controller, whenever you are working, bone will connect to the controller so that you will have a extra freedom. That means you can just work on the controller and get all the things like a natural animation. So you need some references also. If you watching the reference, you can just animate it quite well. It's moving quite well in the timeline, and if you play forward and backward, you can see animation is working quite well because we have added extra keyframes to refine the process. At first you have to just go to the blocking step, and after that you will have to manipulate, put some amount of points into your model. So I'm just manipulating the shape, and also will just editing the particular part so that it may look so much more natural. So as you can see, the cycle process which we have done, the looping step in the graph editor, and it following the same speed because we have just started the first frame, and the first few frames animated the same in all the axes like x, y and z, in all the translation like translate, rotate and scaling values. So after that, when you are satisfied, you can just loop the same, which will just cycling the process. So one more thing I have to say, that we have used this translate and rotate. So scale is not being possible for this. If you need extra details, you can just put the scale, but in inorganic like bouncing ball and all, you have to work with the scaling process also. As you can see, we are just deleting the junk keyframes, so that if you add a very high amount of keyframes, then it will produce some amount of jerkness on your animation. So make sure that whenever you are working, you will just put as much as a keyframe as per your need. So don't go excessive, or don't put little bit of, because if you put little bit, it will just produce some mechanical animation. But if you produce or just use a huge amount of keyframes, it will definitely create some amount of jerk on your animation. So make sure that whenever you are working, you just put the keyframes according to your need. So as you can see, we are just moving along the timeline, and also we are manipulating some amount of points as per our need. So we'll select the top part and just move forward. As you can see, we are looking at the particular section. This one would be fine, and if I go here or in between them, just select this one and just move it downward, so that whenever you are just working, you will have a proper look. That means just open the graph editor at the top screen, and after that you just manipulate all the things one by one, and we'll just select this part. And I think we should move it over here, and just select this one, should move it over here somehow here. So switching into the view is very important. That means you have to look at all the views. If you are working in perspective, then you have to go to the top or the front or the left one. So that means you have all the view, and after that you can just have a proper look at whatever you are forming. You will just form in a correct way. Whenever a character is moved, all the body parts will move. So you have to play with the head, the shoulder, the legs, the hand, and also with the fingers if you need a proper and a realistic animation. That means with the help of a reference you can have a clear look that which part is moving when a character is moving. And always use the slope up and down. As you can see, the slope is up and down. That means it will form a curviness into the animation, which looks so much more realistic, as you can see. Now we will just put some amount of points in a specific area so that the animation will look so much more realistic as compared to this one. So we are working in the play blast. At first the play blast will buffer, and after that a small window will form. You can enlarge it by just dragging or just use the maximize button. So you can see the play blast is a dummy of your all the frames. At first are the same, then it will just produce a frame, you can say the video file. So this is only for examine purpose. If you are satisfied with your play blast, then you can just have a render and all. Okay, so manipulation of points is very important. I just forming some amount of curve into the section, and also we'll just look at round by just moving forward into the timeline. That you have to do again and again to have a clear and better look for the animation. So manipulation of point is important. As you can see, the graph is forming up and down. So it's the rotation y, as you can see, all the values are changed. If you have three axes, which is x, y, and z, obviously we are working in 3D. So the x would be red, y would be green, and z would be, so that you will not get any confusion when you are working on the graph editor. So this step is also followed in the dope sheet. If you have a dope sheet which is opened, all the points will have different colors. Okay, so animation is very important. You're just working in the animation, you know about the graph editor, which has been a point, because if you can work in graph editor well, your animation will be so much more smooth and realistic. So by working in the graph editor, you will have a proper idea, and also you have to know about the dope sheet, which is also very important in the field of animation. Moving along the timeline, and just look at the hand region. Is it flowing quite well? Because we have to just go to the rotation file and move it here some, so that rotation of the hand, and also we will just rotate it, and also just change few of the points as per our need. So we'll just put point much more into the down, and just at this point is getting so much of creased, so we'll just decrease the crease value by moving it into the downward region. And after that we'll just select the hand, go to the rotate Y, and just select this point, and which is the forward point, which will just help you to start. Okay, so we'll down the point. As you can see, whatever we are doing, it also updating in the side one, because we have just increased the loop area. You have to just make sure that you just work hard at the first few frames. After that you will just have continuity, because whatever you will do in the first frame, it will just generate the loop. So make sure that whenever you are working, you will just work properly in the first few frames. After that you can use the loop, so that it will follow the loop and your animation. as moving along the timeline, we are in front. Also, we have to just manipulate the hit region so that the flowing of the character would be natural, so much more natural. So each and every step we have to follow according to the reference, and make sure that whenever you're working, you just put the S button on or the auto key on, so that you will don't have to put S button at the time of just putting the keyframes. Just put the auto key on, so that whenever you are changing, it will automatic update the key on your timeline. So the retardation of point, as you can see here in the graph editor, it is forming waves along the part, and also just to follow along the timeline up and down motion of the a particular section. And we'll just off this, and after that what we do, just select this part forward and just go to bounding box, or you can have the apply on shaders. And so if you are working in the bounding box, definitely the scene will be so happy and you work quite well. So renaming is very important. If you are working in Maya, you have to just make version, so that whatever happened previous in the current version, you can go to the previous version, so your file will never been corrupted. So as you can see, we are in bounding box. Also we have using the character which is in the front. So as you can see here, we have nerves and curves. We'll just off for a while for a test animation, and after that we'll just go to the um, few of the panels we have to manipulate it. At first, what we will do, let's have a look. We are in perspective and all the view has been on, and this would be fine. I think this view would be fine for a rough checkup. So on this nerve M curve, so that we will have a proper view of all the curves which or not. As you can see, all the things has been getting into named and all, so that whenever you work, you will get all the things named, and you will get that. If you can just select that part, you can just easily manipulate the same process. So renaming is very important. You don't have to find it along in your channel box or in attribute editor. You have to use the proper rename function inside application. So whenever you're saving any file, or just manipulating any of the file, or forming any file inside Maya or any other 3D or 2D software, you have to just give the proper rename, so that whenever you just call the file, you just put that name, and after that your file will be game. So renaming is very important as whenever you're working in your file. So this point will be manipulated at the top. As you can see, the proportion of the character is getting changed according to the shifting of the points. Maximum time we are using the perspective, because perspective, if you rotate the same all the views which is into in the perspective form, so maximum time we are using the perspective. And after that, you can also go to any of the view to have a proper checkup at the section. So the points we have to shift the part. So we are moving here, and the section will be down little bit, and we are moving at here. This section would also be down. I think this part would be fine. So proper shipment of the points is very important. Just shifting the points in a very well order, you can work quite well. So each and every time you have to play with the graph editor. Likewise, you have to animate one by one in each every point which is forming along the part. So this point would be in the down region, and this point is both of will is slantly, so that the animation which is formed would be yeah fine and smooth. The perspective so that we will have at the rotate Z, and also we'll just off curves which in the rigging section have been formed, so that we have a proper look at our character proportion of animation. This part will be down little bit, and this part will also be formed here to have a curvature look at our animation, and with that it will just I think we have to manipulate this section also, because if this would be slant, a little bit of curviness will form along the shoulders of the character, and we are in rotate Z. Definitely the part just along the character walk cycle of rotate character uh, proportion and the shoulder, as you can see here. As after blocking, you have to just put some amount of points in between them, because if blocking will happen, just in the you can say in the play blast, then it will form some amount of jerk. As you can see, we have play blast play speed, which is in quick time, or you can also use the real time. So right now I'm using time for a while, and after that I change the playback speed from the timeline, and after that focusing on the toe region of the character, and with select X, I think we have to manipulate. As you can see, uh, it forming the cycle, because we have just repeated the process. So these are the leg region, and we have to just follow, because as you can see, the mailbox, each and every step has been named quite well, and you can just put the value. If you are lean, you have the side, you have left, toe left and all. So whenever you're working in the action step, you have to just follow the process, which is very important, because if you have the rename process, well, you can just animate your character quite well, because you don't have to confuse the process because all the things has been renamed quite well. You just have to put the value only in the channel box and attribute editor, which is very important. So renaming is very important if you are working on the particular complicated character which has all the parts, which has different parts, and also you can just manipulate to the graph editor. Whenever you are manipulating any point in the graph editor, it will show some amount of curve, and also in the left of the graph editor it will show all the names of the parts, so you will not get any confused whenever you are working in complicated character like this. As you can see, the animation process is leaning quite well. It has some amount of freeness, and also it has some amount of weight on the ground. This way you can add extra points so I'm in play blast option and just close for a while because right now, and go to render settings, and here we have the preset. So right now I will use the low preset, which would be HD 1080p. Okay, this would be full HD. You can also go for 4K and all. So right now I'm just using this one 8.4 or you can use the photo version, which is also JPG sequence. Okay, settings scale would, frame padding would be 4, and rename process is again important, where you are saving your file, the directory. Now the render process will happen. At first it will buffer the same, and after that it will just produce some amount of rendering step.